Welcome to Middle Earth Readings. Apologies that I'm late. I could not find my camera. It was completely black. I had to restart everything, but I'm here now. I hope that you can all see me. It is Monday the 15th of February, and this is Middle Earth Readings. I am Maggie Cunningham. I'm the founder of MaggieandRose.com, which is resources and training for healers, seers, psychics, magicians, mystics. You know who you are, who you're already working really powerfully, but you want to work within the Northern European tradition. So that is what I'm here to do and to support you in. And so we're going to be looking at the movements of the planets through the runic wheel this week, starting the 15th of February. But before we did that, I wanted to share with you a little bit of work that I've been doing, that I've been finding particularly powerful at this time. And I think it's going to become even more powerful and easy in terms of flow through the coming week. But while I'm talking you through that, hello Suzanne, lovely to see you. Hi Erica, lovely to see you too. And Angel, hello, I'm new. Read part of the site a few days ago and loved it. Oh, lovely, welcome Angel, so lovely to have you. I love when we have a new person. So welcome and enjoy. And if there are any rooms that are particularly present, for you, that you'd like a little bit of sort of intuition or inspiration on, just pop them into the chat and I'll try and get through them through the course of these readings as well. Hi Sally Ann, nice to see you. So I've been doing a practice that I like to do, but I just found it to be particularly powerful at the moment. And what I basically do is I imagine that I'm sitting on a beach, and because it's me, people who know me will know my beach is a very British beach. It's a little bit cold. It's not that sort of blazing sun, tropical. No, but I enjoy it nonetheless. But you can have any beach that you want to for the purposes of your work. Hi Felicity, nice to see you. Hi Callan, lovely to see you too. Haha, able to catch the right time. Well, obviously maybe that's why I started at 11:05 and instead of 11 was so that you could join me. Okay, we've got some nice readings coming in, so I'm going to come back to those. So when I'm sitting on my beach and I'm thinking about the power of water. So water is really important within the Northern European tradition. It has a lot of powerful stuff. So we can think about it practically in terms of like the Vikings traveling out on their longboats, going out sort of adventuring, but also in terms of coastal societies. So a lot of the big Viking settlements and Anglo-Saxon settlements. Hi Kavita, nice to see you too. And they are places of great fertility. These are the fertile waters. They're the places where the salt water meets the fresh water. So they're really fertile, great fishing, so really practical stuff that we're thinking about here. But water also has spiritual connotations and very powerful ones as well. The flow of weird, is seen as being water itself, the well of weird. So it contains memory within it. It contains the past within it. And water is also seen as a gateway between the worlds, particularly between the worlds of the living and the worlds of the dead. So again, it contains past life experiences for us, ancestral memories, all coming in here. So one of the things that I like to do is to sit at the water's edge, on my beach, and I sit and I ask for support, normally from Suna, the goddess of the sun, and we know that Suelo is really powerful at the moment. We're in the half month of Suelo. We have the new moon in Suelo, and Frigg's Chariot's going to move into Suelo later in the week on the 19th. So we've got a lot of powerful Suna energy available to us. But I also sometimes call on Njord. Njord is the god of the sea. And he's not the deep depths of the cold, intimidating sea. That's Aegir. He has his place too. He's the god of the fishing waters. So his hall, Noatan, is known as ship's enclosure. So it's like a harbour, It's a place of preparation. And he's known as benevolent. He brings wealth as well, so fertility. He was a member of the Vanir, so earth magic, incredibly powerful deity as well. So I ask for their guidance and their help, and I just sit and relax into meditation And I ask for, what memories do I need to work on today? And sometimes there might be, I'm thinking about, a relationship that I'm struggling with, or a particular challenge that I'm struggling with at the moment. And I'm like, okay, what's holding me back? And for those of you who are, healers, maybe you're shamanic practitioners, you'll be quite familiar with the idea of power retrieval. And there are some similarities here which you can use for the purposes of what I'm describing now. I have found that there are differences, with core shamanism. I've trained in core shamanic practice and Northern European tradition. When you get into actually, how do you do power retrieval, like exactly what's happening. But for the purposes of this meditation, you can think about this as being the same way, that what you're looking for is you're saying, where is my power caught? Where is it held and contained within these past memories? Where am I leaving? In core shamanism, you would talk about leaving parts of yourself. Northern European shamanism, I tend to think about it more as in, where are there threads where my energy is being channeled, that they are binding me into the past and my energy is going into them rather than into the present moment. But you can see why it'll be very similar. And then I just wait for the sea. I feel it's the tides going in and going out. And eventually, a memory will come. And I'll start by, with the guidance that I'm receiving from Suna and from Njord, to say, okay, is there something precious in this memory? And there isn't always, just to be clear. Sometimes we're just holding on to them and, we need to release them. But sometimes there is something precious. So the example I've got here is moment which I kept going back to. It was always, that's coming back. It just appears in dreams. It keeps coming up. And I'm sure you've got moments like that. Why does this keep on coming up? I thought I dealt with this. And it was a moment where I saw, for the first time, I saw, I just fell in love. When you're a teenager, you just fall in love with somebody. Just across a crowded room, you see them. I saw him, our eyes locked across the A-level classroom. A moment that was probably about a second and a half, but in my mind was 100 years of magnificence, And a whole relationship unfolds from there. But we don't need to know about that. We only need to know about this moment. And this one kept coming back to me. I was like, okay, what's the precious piece within this? And where I came to was under Suna's guidance. She says, what you're missing is that it's trying to tell you that type of deep soul level connection is important to you, And as long as you keep on trying to make connections based on other criteria, mutual interest in a topic, or this person seems clever and and shiny and fabulous, those things, they're not your truth. They're not your authentic truth. So when you make choices that aren't on that basis, your life path doesn't go the way that it should. So what you need to do is to claim that for yourself and say, I value that. That's important to me. That moment of just looking into somebody else's eyes and feeling as if you are seen, that's important. And that's what I needed to take. So I claimed that little bit of power, brought it inside myself, and then I used the Suelo room to do healing work on all of the the emotional stuff that was the baggage and all of the stuff that was in that. And then I released the memory back into the waters. And for me, the idea is that it then goes back into the waters of the collective unconscious, and the thread that was tied between me and the memory has gone. So I'm no longer sending power and attention and being distracted by this, because I have the precious gift that memory needed, that it was gifting to me. So I wanted to share that with you now, because it has been so incredibly powerful for me. I mean, normally I might do like one memory at a time. I've been able to like batches of 3 or 4. And some memories at this point, there's just a lot of clarity around that. So I had one that was so powerful, it kept on coming back. And eventually I went into it and I realized that so much of it I had constructed myself. I changed it over time. I couldn't remember an awful lot of the context that was actually really happening at all in that memory. I just made this whole story, which was not based in reality at all. And that allowed me to do the release process. So I'm sharing this with you because I think that for those of you who have done healing work for yourself before, working with Suelo, working with Suna, working with Njord, will be helpful and positive for you, and incredibly important for us at the moment. So power retrieval has come through for me as incredibly important and strong at this time, preparing us for the time when we will be able to send our ships back out onto the waters, you know, to go and do cool stuff. You know, at the moment we're waiting a little bit, quite a lot of us, you know, or, you know, we're doing a bit, but it's different, you know. We're not quite in the flow that we would like to be, but we're going to need to be. So this is about power. So what's happening with the planets, I hear you ask? What's going on? Let's look at what we've got in terms of runes, first of all. So Erica says, my weekly rune for this week is Iwaz. Well, that's a great rune for power retrieval anyway, isn't it, Erica? If you think about it, you know, the strength, the connection between the worlds that comes through Iwaz, standing in your own power, your own solidity. I'm really feeling that, you know, that the world tree itself that you can journey up and down on, but also, you know, that ability to defend your own boundaries. You know, I have a boundary now in place from the memory work that I did. This is my boundary. If I want a relationship, a deep and meaningful relationship, I need that moment of instinctive connection with the other person. And now I know that. That's one of my boundaries. And Suzanne has got Thurisaz. Again, root of power. You know? Ooh, what am I feeling there for you, Suzanne, when that comes through? Certainly that heart connection, you know, instinctive heart connection, but also some of those thorns of like fear or anger or emotion that come along too. And for me, it feels like an opportunity at this moment to say, okay, let's do some thorn clearing. Would be for me what's going on there. And you know, that fits in really nicely with what I was just saying. It's just a different context. So the Sewello rune is, you know, you're sitting back and you're looking and you're working with memory. Thurisaz is much more feeling based, much more emotion and instinct and feeling based. So yeah, I would anything that you want to chat or anything. If I've got that wrong and you're thinking, no, I was working on Thurisaz because I'm planting a rose bush, let me know. But that's what I'm getting for you. So the planetary movements that we've got, well, first of all, we've got a zodiac sign change. So some of you will know the halls of the gods. We have 12 halls of the gods, and we're moving into Njord's hall this week on the 18th. So you know, it's one of the reasons why Njord is obviously so present at the moment, and his hall, Noatan, you know, ship enclosure. When I'm doing my beach meditation at the moment, I can actually see like a little shipyard off in the distance, and almost like hear the work being done to get the ships ready. It's quite nice, you know. He's a bit purposeful at the moment. He's like, you know, you've got to get ready, got to get the ships out, got to get them going. And so Njord's hall, the halls were created by Freya Aswin, and she's, you know, her work is so powerful. It's really, really good. And I was quite suspicious and cynical of this for quite some time because I don't like doing a sort of just a direct, oh, this is the zodiac, so let's imagine what the runes would be. You know, I didn't really like that. So I was quite resistant to doing this, but I did, you know, I've started to work much more with the halls in the last, I would say 3 years, and they do actually work really, really well. And for me, you know, I've studied the zodiac, and I, you know, painted them on my walls. My poor parents, I don't know what they were, you know, put up with so much when I was a teenager. Paintings of zodiac stuff going on all over the place. But it wasn't until I started to work actually with the halls. It's just a better way in for me because I like the Northern European tradition. So it works really well for me, and there are some lovely energies. So Njord is known as, you know, very practical fertility, wealth, you know, the fish in the sea, big plump fat silver fish I see, you know, just waiting for our nets to haul them in. But he's also, you know, deep connection to intuition, deep connection to the mysteries of the water, to, you know, our own power as well. And so for me, I can really feel that through this coming month, where that's coming in. So again, that's why it's great to work with him at the moment. Then we also have on the 19th, we have 2 movements. So we have Frigg's chariot is moving into Sewello. So we've already got the sun, Suna's chariot in Sewello. We've got the new moon in Sewello. Now Frigg's chariot's moving into Sewello. It's just a Sewello feast. Now it's beautiful, golden, radiant energy coming through, helping us to step into purpose. And what Frigg's really saying to me is, she's talking about being that standing in the sovereignty of our own power. So she is a queen, and she knows that she has to be, on top of her game when she's out there with the people, when she's out there with the gods. She needs to radiate the presence of a goddess. That's what is expected of her. She is the queen of heaven. If she's not going to role model it, who's going to role model it? So she's telling us to focus on our own power, which comes again to this idea of this is a great time for power retrieval, because I'm thinking about teachers that I've worked with, and I'm sure you must have had the same thing. There are some people who, when I work with them, I just need to work with this person. I feel so much more fully myself. I feel so much more certain. I feel trust in life. I know who I am, what I'm meant to do. Just being in presence with this person makes me feel more powerful. And I'm sure you must have worked with people who it feels that way when you work with them. And they don't need to say, really wise words. They don't need to have loads of certificates. They don't need to have loads of qualifications. They might have those things, and those things will probably make me feel a bit more, oh yes, when you do that thing where you go, I really want to work with this person, and you go and look at their bio and you go, oh, that's okay, I can. It's that sort of thing. But the presence comes from within. And that's what Frigg is talking about. She's saying, work on your presence. This is why you're doing all of this power retrieval work. It's not selfish, is what she's saying. Let's reappropriate the word selfish to mean working on the self. When I am powerful, I empower others, is what Frigg is saying. So the work that you're doing for your own, power retrieval is a service to others. But don't think about it that way, she's saying. Do it for yourself, she's saying. You don't have to think about it. It's always about others. I think there's a real narrative. Maybe is it a Christian thing? I don't know. I mean, I was brought up as Christian, so I find it difficult sometimes to tell whether it's where it comes culturally. But this idea that you can only do stuff for other people. We all have to be doing stuff for other people, and you sort of hope that your needs are going to be tended to because somebody else will look after you. But you mustn't look after yourself. It's sort of a thing. How weird is that? Imagine how much more efficient it would be if we all tended to our own needs, because you know what your needs are best. Relying on somebody else to know what your needs are is probably a bad plan. So Frigg is all about that. She's saying, when we stand in our power, we inspire greatness in others, and we help others to stand in their power too. And on the same day, we have Tia's chariot moving into Ingu's. And for me, I looked at that one and I was like, oh no! And I'll tell you why I thought that. It's because Tia is a god of sacrifice. He sacrifices his sword arm. And when I saw the combination, the rune Ingu's is known as the seed, and it's the seed that we throw into the earth, and it sacrifices itself for the crop, for the new crop. And so I was like, well, it's got to be about sacrifice. And I was like, oh, haven't we done enough? Haven't we done enough? Was where I was at that point. But the more that I looked in this line, the more I realised, no, that's not what's going on here. Yes, we should all be prepared to sacrifice for the things that we care about and the people we care about. Of course, we should do that. But this message is a deeper message, and it's reminding us of the vision that I gave you at the beginning of being on the beach and taking those memories and taking the precious truth, the piece of power from those memories, and then casting the rest of the memory back into the sea. He's talking about, what do you want to preserve and keep? What's the precious thing? And what do you discard? Because it's not the most precious or important thing. I'm not saying that I wouldn't go back and look on those memories of that relationship and, do that bit of that nostalgia and all of those sorts of things. But, Tia is really saying to us, you can do that, but don't do it for too long. Choose the precious thing, stick to it, follow your course, follow your path, because all of those distractions out there, they're going to make it so that you can't do what it is that you're here to do on the planet. There is a time when we can just relax and be like, oh, and there's a time when we need to say, the sacrifice I'm making is I'm sacrificing these things because I want that. that's really, you know, you're making sacred the thing that you keep is, you know, is what I'm taking away from this. So I think again, these are very combined. These are very aligned planetary movements at the moment. So, you know, it's a really powerful time. So let's have a little look at what else we've got. So Nicole pulled in. Well, there you go, Nicole. We've got in coming through, and very much that idea of what's the most precious thing to you? What are the precious seeds that you are holding within? And what are the things that you're releasing? Felicity pulled Suelo. Yeah, Suelo week, there you go. And Isa for today. And I think that's a really nice combination, Felicity, if you think about the combination of fire and ice, those primal elements that are the two foundational elements of the Northern tradition, and that slow thawing of the ice. It's very gentle. So it's suggesting that whatever work you're doing should be gentle and kind at this point. You know, the light of the sun upon the ice. It's not a flame. It's the light there. Callan, I think, yeah, you pulled Iwaz as well, so we've already had that with Erica. And yeah, powerful. The etymology of sacrifice is to make sacred. Exactly, Callan, exactly. And I think that's so important for us at the moment, is to claim the sacred in our lives, you know, to recognize that every moment we can make every moment sacred. Every moment is special, you know, when we're in presence and when we're standing in our power. So yeah, there we have it. That's where we are for the week ahead. I think that I have covered everybody's runes that have come up today. So thank you everybody for your comments. Please, you know, keep them coming. I'll try and keep an eye on the chat through the weeks and answer any questions that you have. But wishing you a very, very, you know, powerful and empowering week. And I look forward to seeing many of you, either if you're Hearthspace members, through our trainings through the coming week, or for the rest of you, seeing you next Monday.